Hey guys, what's up? We're back with some more WarFrame action, and today I want to talk about something that I've seen a surprising amount of discussion on. And when I say surprising amount, what I mean is more than zero discussion on. So, what are we talking about? We're talking about a WarFrame TV show. It's just an idea. This is really more of an exercise in imagining a way of telling a story, basically. A way of telling a story about a thing that we have little to no understanding of, progressing further into actual more understanding of, in terms of the history in WarFrame lore. Okay, so let's establish a couple of things. First off, if we are going to tell the WarFrame story, we could tell it in two ways, I think. There's two viable ways of telling the WarFrame story, specifically the super duper old history stuff. The first way, of course, is to show it as in-game missions, which would probably be the best, and would probably be the most likely way that DE decides to tell stories, especially like future quests after the new war, like super duper into the future, where they're like, alright, we're going to hammer out some old shit. Or the other way is a TV show. And the reason why I'm not including movies in this is because I don't think WarFrame as a story would work in movies. We've seen a lot of gaming movies that don't seem to work all that well, so kind of erring on that particular medium. Another thing that I want to establish immediately is that a WarFrame TV show, I think, should not cover anything past the old war. So everything from when we jump into our WarFrame for the very first time, whether you're a new person or a 5 going to 6-year veteran, everything after that should not be covered in a WarFrame TV show. It should be everything before that. And then finally, this TV show should have the purpose of covering gaps, filling in gaps that we don't know anything about. So obviously, the very first season will cover the most the biggest vacuum of knowledge that we have, which is the Orokin Empire. The first season should cover the rise and the establishment of the Orokin Empire. The second season should cover everything that the Orokin Empire does to expand across the solar system and then eventually fail, causing them to produce the sentients who would go out and then realize that they need to destroy the Orokin before they destroy the Tau system. And then the third season would be basically the old war from start to finish, including Tenno, including Ballas, including Margulis, etc, etc. So for this video, I want to jump straight into Season 1, and I want to try and get through Season 1 as quickly as possible, without spending about 20 minutes yammering on, which I did in a previous record, so let's just jump right in. Now, the overall point of Season 1 is this. Start with humanity, end with the Orokin Empire. Start with a society that's kind of similar to what we have right now, finish with a dominant Orokin Empire. So Season 1 would cover the part of WarFrame's history that we know the least about. Because of that, I'm just taking wild guesses, and I'm kind of assuming a bunch of things. I would guess that whoever decides to go and make a WarFrame TV show would do the same thing, just have an extreme amount of artistic license to just make things up. But I'm also at the same time working closely with these so that we can establish a main narrative that still fits with what we know in the game, and any other potential future shenanigans that happen in the game should obviously work off whatever new lore is established in a TV show. But because we are moving from like current society and current governmental systems to a fully fledged empire, which is a totally different authoritarian system, Season 1 I think should feature a lot of political themes such as international conflict, i.e. war, religion of sorts, politics, I don't know, just all that kind of stuff, you know? So let's just jump right into what each episode probably would feature. The first episode would start off with humanity in a situation kind of like our own right now, maybe a little bit more futuristic enough that we can have semi-regular space exploration. this episode's purpose is to establish the setting, basically establish the current order of the government. It will probably be a bit different to what we know today. And ultimately, this episode, we would sort of discover an unknown energy. Episode 2 would basically serve the purpose of humanity going to investigate that particular energy. Of course, that energy is void energy, located in the void. So, because the void is so far away, this would be the first time humanity even bothers to explore that far. We've explored as far as Pluto at this point, so that's how far into the future we are. Like, we've explored Pluto, but now we are going to try and explore it further by going to the void. The next few episodes, maybe from 3 to 5, will basically be an arc about scientists and crew in the spacecraft that is exploring the void. Basically, investigating the energy that comes from the void, finding out that it is in fact void energy. At the same time, in episode 3, this episode would also feature some sort of like breakdown of the international relations as nations realize that there may very well become this arms race in terms of void energy. And then from about episode 6 onwards, the fear of an arms race because of void energy would come to fruition as void energy is then introduced to Earth, because obviously when you're a crew and you've discovered some energy, you're going to like grab some and then bring it back to Earth. So after realizing that that energy is capable of advancing technology at an astronomical rate, obviously a giant arms race will begin. With a giant arms race comes a giant war, a war powered by void energy, a war powered by technology developing to do all sorts of insane things. So that's what we're dealing with. And also at the same time, maybe episode 7, the Orokin would actually show up. Now here's the big question. Are the Orokin humans that have evolved? Or are they just simply a third party that has shown up from space? I don't know. And I don't think anyone knows. I'm sure someone at DE probably knows, but there's no way to know at this particular point in time by playing the game and even just reading through the immense lore. And
this test has only
I kind of
just
know this
begun.
because if you refer to Stellar D's 20 odd minute video about what we know at the time, there even he can't say with certainty what, well, at least I think he can't say with certainty what the Orokin truly are, if they are human who have evolved because of void energy, etc, etc. Like, there's a lot of lore theorists who will probably give their ideas. That's what that particular episode should establish. What are the Orokin? Alright, now, in the final few episodes, we'll see a resistance. Even as there is, like, international conflict, the Orokin being, like, a thing will try and rise above all of humanity because the Orokin are, generally speaking, far superior individuals than humans. So even as there is international conflict, the nations will still continue to try, the nations will try to resist against the growing empire and the growing support for a new empire, like a unified empire basically. It's basically all of the established nations against a growing unified empire that plans to take over the world and then expand across the solar system. You can see how threatening to the establishment governments that this unified empire that just showed up out of nowhere. You can see how threatening that is. So there would be some pressure, but eventually the nations and basically all political structures that we know would essentially break down, and the world would belong to the Orokin, essentially. The Earth, all of humanity now serves the Orokin Empire. The season would end with the Honored Seven, who would be standing on a podium, basically announcing, "We are the Orokin," or something like that, I don't know. Obviously, I'm no good at writing scripts. Okay, so that's basically the story. Start off with humanity in a very normal state, finish with the Orokin Empire rising from nothing, rising from out of nowhere because the void energy showed up. let's just establish some main characters that may not really be relevant in Season 2. Okay, let's start off with the main characters that should be relevant in Season 2. That is the Honored 7. The Honored 7, we don't know a lot about the Honored 7. They could very well be random people who became the first Orokin. They're totally keen beans of the number 7 for some reason. There's 7 drift mods, so there's 7 halls of ascension on Lua. There's the Honored 7. We know them for they are basically like the almighty sort of emperor, like final say in the Orokin Empire. But we don't know a whole lot about them as far as I can tell. Whether they're humans or whether they're just randoms that showed up, I don't know. If they were humans, then obviously early on in the season we would just be focusing on a bunch of humans who seem really random at first, but toward the end we will realize that, oh my god, they're actually the Honored 7. And then some characters that probably won't be relevant in Season 2 onwards would be national leaders. I'm sure the US president would love to be a main character, so there's one main character. Another massive nation, maybe say the Chinese president could also be a main character as their nations essentially dissolve and form and like sort of coagulate and form the Orokin Empire. And then of course the crew who investigate the void energy, the scientists, all of those people would be main characters for maybe the first half of the season before like the arc basically shifts from discovery of a new energy source to a complete and total destruction of the status quo. And that's basically Season 1. It would set up the show for Season 2, where the Empire is super duper proud of itself and in a totally powerful and super dominant position. Of course, then it would expand a bit too much, fail miserably, like ravage most of the solar system, and then turn its eye to the Tau system. And that's what we will discuss in the Season 2 sort of idea. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this. If you did, hit the like button. If you really enjoyed it, maybe consider subscribing to the channel. If you have any ideas about what you would throw into Season 1 of a WarFrame TV show, keep in mind, if someone is going to do this would probably be on like a HBO budget, because of all of the CGI that would be necessary to make a WarFrame TV show. Nevertheless, just the Orokin. So if you have any ideas, if you have any things that you reckon would happen during the rise of the Orokin Empire, feel free to throw them in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye!